The great machines of the Industrial Revolution were in full swing, producing things for the empire, and what we'd now call a technological revolution was radically changing the face of ordinary life. The telegraph, and better still, the telephone, were making it possible for people to communicate with one another as never before, and thanks to Mr. Edison's phonograph, you could even listen back to what you'd just been saying. And by the time a couple of Frenchmen from Lyon had managed to record human movement on film, a young inventor from Bologna called Guglielmo Marconi was playing about with what was known as wireless telegraphy. It was a busy time, and yet it was still a pretty quiet one. The former professor of radio at Bournemouth University, Sean Street.
It was a very silent world, and I think when we look back on those days, we are looking actually into almost a Victorian England, where things really hadn't changed, particularly in rural England, for, one could almost say, centuries. You know, the world of Thomas Hardy. I always think of Thomas Hardy because I think he epitomises the generation born in the middle of the 19th century who lived to the late 1920s, born into a world where his mother said she could remember what the weather was like when she heard about the French Revolution, to live to see cars, aircraft and radio. You could argue no other generation has lived through such an extraordinary social change as that generation.